You know, when we're good, we're very, very good. But when we're bad, we're horrid. Good people share the same inner voice. They tell the truth. They're open, they're responsive, they're friendly, they're outgoing, they're cheerful, they're supportive, they're Boy Scouts, if you know what I mean. They're good people. But when people are defensive, when they're negative, when they're twisted in their own pain, they're defensive. And at that time, they employ their defensive mechanisms, and they are not easy to manage. What are the defensive mechanisms that people employ? Well, there are only 3 of them. Denial, that is, you say the pain doesn't exist. Excuses, you say the reason that the pain exists is someone else's fault, let's go get him. Or you pretend that you are not bothered by the pain, that you are above it. Okay? Those 3 defensive patterns, denial, excuses, and pretenses, are each characteristic of a specific human trait. There are 3 kinds of traits, and there are 3 basic kinds of people that you're going to deal with in this world. The first kind of person is the dependent person. The dependent person feels powerless when another person is not taking care of them. In dealing with dependent people, you need to know that they are looking for someone to rule them. They are looking for someone to show the way. They are looking for the rules. They need support, and if you're not around to manage them, they find someone and break their allegiance to you and attach it to the other person. So the dependent person finds people to take care of him or her, and if you're not there to do it, someone else will be. Even if that person is a poor choice, they will believe in something that is not true about a person's ability to lead them, merely not to feel powerless and desperate in the absence of another person's care. The model for this person is the child needing a mother. When the mother isn't there, they deny that the mother isn't there. So that's what they use for their defense. They deny that the leader is not there and invent a leader. The controlling person gives you most of the problems in your life. Chances are you have a controlling husband. Men tend to be more controlling than women. Well, they're controlling people are interested in power. They do not like to know that they are weak. Their weakness is their inability to accept their weakness. Everyone has a weakness and a strength, and the weakness and the strength that you possess are generally part of the same trait. For example, if your strength is confidence, your weakness is overconfidence, generally. If your strength is intuitiveness, your weakness is generally your impulsiveness. So you must be aware of your strength's opposite in order to be preserved in your strength. The controlling person is basically out of control. If you need to use your control all of the time, it means that you don't have any control, because the object of being strong is to be strong enough to allow other people to be free. Doesn't that make sense? You know that's true. If you have a spouse who's controlling, they don't want you to have an opinion that is free. See, the controlling person is nothing more than the dependent person in wolf's clothing. The dependent person who becomes a controlling person is still afraid of losing the other person's love. But the controlling person, when they take over, is afraid to let you be free enough to make your own decisions lest you reject them. The controlling person blames, undermines, makes you feel guilty, tries to control you, tries to undermine you, goes to great extremes to make you feel negative. They like to put themselves at the bottlenecks of the world, and their happiest moment is when they have the key to the door and will not open it for you. The controlling person is extraordinarily difficult, and probably more problems are with controlling people than anyone else. Managing them has to do with showing them that their system doesn't work. The competitive person is the person who uses pretends that it was not important to get an A in the exam, and says that the reason they didn't get an A in the exam is that they didn't study. They pretend not to care when you abandon them. They often immediately replace you with another lover the afternoon you've left the house in a storm. The competitive person is trying to show the world how wonderful he or she is because they don't feel good about it themselves. The competitive person plays 5:60 a.m. in life because they get to a point where they are no longer able to perform at the levels that they need to trounce everyone else. And they need to be reminded and that their strength isn't becoming their best. We're going to be dealing with this in every call today, that controlling the dependent and the competitive person all make up that army of difficult people we have to learn to manage. We'll learn how to manage them one by one. To do so,